one little Indian. I don't know when the knowledge that the Indians did it this way became part of my value system, but I was very young. Mama would point out a plant on one of our walks and say, the Indians ate the young leaves in the spring, or that's good for a cough. Mama was half Cherokee, though she wasn't connected to her culture. Being Indian wasn't cool in those days. There were constant reminders of the Native Americans who had occupied our countryside in the artifacts that we found in the woods and the fields. Broad sandstone metates and the manos, hand stones like little brown loaves of bread, were pried from the sandy soil by the passage of the plow. Flint arrowheads of every description were uncovered by each rainstorm. Tiny, delicate bird points and larger projectiles in different styles, all fashioned from varied materials. These were common. Less common were the lance points, hatchets, and abalone-sized scrapers used for dressing buffalo hides. While walking with Homer along a creek bed, he would point out the charcoal and red burned stones of an ancient hearth 5 feet below ground level. The Two Little Savages was the Bible of my youth for all things Indian. Ernest Thompson Seton told the tale of teenagers, Yan and Sam, who play Indian on a serious level in 1900 Canada. Under the instruction of an old trapper who had lived with the Indians, they built a teepee, learned to make bows and arrows, how to skin a groundhog, how to identify medicinal and edible wild plants, and make appropriate clothing. We each had Indian names that we selected ourselves or were sometimes assigned to us. Sam was Red Fox. Tom was Black Panther. Daddy called the neighbor lady Plump Butt. I didn't have a good name until the day that Henry Norris drove the old Fordson tractor over a sharp stump and destroyed a tire and tube. He dragged them to the back of our 11 acres and threw them in our private landfill. For days, I looked at the vast expanse of the heavy inner tube. When inspiration struck, I dragged it back home and I began cutting it up with a butcher knife. Mama's Singer treadle sewing machine sat in the breezeway. I began sewing. I assembled a glorious, shiny black war shirt with long fringes. I proudly strode out into the world. The fringes were beautiful. The rubber made a squeaking sound like a mouse in distress. as it slipped against my wet skin. The perspiration poured from my body in dark rivulets. I only wore it once, but it did gain me the Indian name by which I'm still known, Sweating Tractor.